Amigos, Ola Stewart here with another video. Now, a couple of months ago, I published a video called Things That Portugal Does Better Than Spain. It was a popular video, lots of comments, lots of feedback, people sharing their opinions on the topic. So today, I thought I'd flip it around and talk about things that Spain does better than Portugal. And I reckon there's going to be a few. So if you're interested in the topic, stick around. Now, before I begin, I'm just going to say that this video is not about whether one country is better than the other. They're just different. So that's what I'm going to speak about today. And if you're planning on moving to either of the two countries, if you're planning on visiting either of the two countries, you might find some of the information useful, or maybe not. Now, the first thing I'm going to talk about is food. Yes, food. And sorry, Portugal, but Spain does food better, in my opinion. And mainly, it's all about diversity. So, for example, you've got tapas culture here in Spain. You've got that regional diversity as well. Think cuisine from the north of the country, cuisine from the Basque country, cuisine from Galicia, cuisine from Asturias. The list goes on. The eastern part of Spain, the Mediterranean cuisine, fantastic. The south of the country, fantastic. The Castillas, the cuisine that you'll find all over Spain, is second to none. And as I said before, it's all about diversity. Now, don't get me wrong, Portugal does have fantastic cuisine, especially when it comes to seafood, and I'm one of the biggest fans of Portuguese food. I absolutely love going to Portugal and trying the different dishes. But when it comes to variety and diversity, those two key words, I reckon Spain takes this one. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Am I right? Am I wrong? Let me know. Now, the next thing I'm going to talk about, again, something that I think Spain does better than Portugal, simply because Spain is a lot bigger than Portugal, and that is big city life, if that's what you are into. Think Barcelona, think Madrid, think some of the other big cities in the country. Even cities like Valencia, Malaga nowadays have this big city feel to them. Portugal, on the other hand, only a couple of big cities there, what we would classify as big cities, right? Comparable cities, Lisbon and Porto, but Spain, you'll find big cities, big regional capital cities all over the country. But again, it all comes down to the size of the two countries, because let's be honest, Portugal's tiny compared to Spain. And of course, in the big cities here, you're going to find world-class nightlife, things to do, cultural events, huge international communities also, and the big Spanish cities are bustling with life almost on a 24-hour basis, especially at weekends. Now, don't get me wrong, the main Portuguese cities are great. They're just a bit smaller and quieter than their Spanish equivalents. That might be something that you're into, and if it is, fair play to you. You prefer a quieter city, but a lot of people prefer the hustle and bustle of the big cities here in Spain. If that is the case and you agree with me, let me know in the comment section below. And if you don't, also let me know there. Now, the next thing I'm going to talk about is public transport. In a way, it is related to the last thing that I spoke about, the size of the cities here in Spain compared to the ones in Portugal. But it's an important topic, especially if you're planning a move to either Spain or Portugal. And also, if you're visiting, you want to know if you're going to be able to get around on fantastic public transport options, right? So here's the deal. Spain's public transport system in general, all over the country, is seriously impressive. Now, I'm not going to say that Portugal's isn't, especially in the big cities there, Lisbon and Porto, but here in Spain, you'll find good, very good public transport in many cities, that's for sure. You'll also find here in Spain a very extensive fast train system, the AVE system, that will take you all over the country in a very swift manner. Portugal does have fast train services, but not as many as Spain, of course. That in part is due to the size of the country also. If you want to get between the big places in Portugal, yes, you can take a fast train, but here in Spain, as I said, the fast train network very extensive. You'll find metro systems in Spanish cities as well, not only the two big ones, Madrid and Barcelona, but in other regional capitals you'll find metro systems. Think Malaga, think Valencia, and Spain's road system is also very, very good for getting around the country if you like to drive, of course. Portugal has a good road system too, but you'll find yourself paying tolls on many Portuguese roads, whereas here in Spain, most of the roads are still free. So getting around Spain is fast, comfortable and well connected, in my opinion. Again, if you agree or disagree with me, let me know in the comment section below. Now, this next one's important in my opinion, and it's cultural diversity. And let's just say that Spain isn't one culture, it's many different cultures inside the one country, if that makes sense. Each region here in Spain feels different when it comes to language, when it comes to food. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, Spain's regional diversity when it comes to food is unbelievable, and also when it comes to traditions. Now again, don't get me wrong here, Portugal does have diversity when it comes to culture. The north compared to the south, for example. Even if you go to the islands in Portugal, Madeira, for example, you'll get that different cultural feel. But when it comes to language, not necessarily so. That's something that I like about Portugal. It's very simple when it comes to language. People speak the same language wherever you go, whereas here in Spain, that is not the case. But again, we're speaking here about diversity. So if that's what you are into, Spain wins this one too. And you only have to travel the country from north to south to east to west to see this diversity. And what I'm going to say next might be a little bit controversial, and some people here in Spain definitely won't agree with what I'm going to say, but Spain feels like different countries inside the one country, whereas Portugal is more culturally unified, if that makes sense. And again, that could be a pro or a con depending on how you look at it. Now, this next one is going to be important for a lot of people, and that is weather diversity. Yes, that's right, weather diversity. And again, Spain, when it comes to weather, is a lot more diverse than Portugal. Again, mainly because of the size. Basically, when it comes to weather, Spain offers everything. Think sunny Mediterranean climate, think cooler northern climates, think dry, arid central Spain, and that gives you some idea. Portugal is beautiful, but it's a bit more consistent, if that makes sense. Now, I know what some people are going to say, Stuart, the north of Portugal is different to the south of Portugal as far as weather is concerned, and yes, that is true. The north of Portugal is a lot wetter, a lot cooler than the south, but it doesn't have the diversity or the variety that Spain has when it comes to weather options. And what this means is that Spain gives you a lot more choice depending on your lifestyle. If you want the cooler temperatures from the north of the country, the rainier conditions, that part of the country is for you. If you want that sunny Mediterranean climate, you want to be outdoors a lot, that could also be the place for you. The Canary Islands as well, Andalusia, the central parts of the country, good weather here, although it does get a little bit cold in the winter months, that is for sure. So when it comes to variety regarding weather conditions, now, this next one might be a little bit controversial, and I'm sure that lots of Portuguese people won't agree with me here, but when it comes to restaurant culture and social eating, I think Spain has the edge over Portugal as well. Because Spain's food culture isn't just about eating, it's a social event as well, if that makes sense. So, for example, think tapas bar crawling, where you don't only go to one place for dinner, you go to 5 or 6 different places. You have a drink and something to eat in one place, you move on to another one, you move on to another one, you meet different people. That's that social side of eating. Also, again, talking about tapas, sharing plates of food. Very common to sit down with 4 or 5 people and share a few plates of food. Now again, this probably happens in Portugal. I imagine it does, but here in Spain, it's a national pastime. It's what people do when they go out with friends. They share plates of food. And let's not forget these long lunches and dinners here in Spain that can literally go on for hours. You meet beforehand, you have something to drink, you have a bite to eat, you sit down for lunch, you have your dessert, then out come the drinks, the coffee, and the sobremesa, as it's called, can literally, as I said, go on for hours. So here in Spain, again, in my opinion, eating is more interactive, it's more social, it's more lively. Portugal is simpler, which can be great, but eating here in Spain feels like more of an experience, if that makes sense. Now, this next one sounds a bit silly, but it's actually quite important. Supermarkets. And again, it all comes down to variety. Spain has an enormous amount of supermarkets. It's got small supermarkets, it's got medium-sized supermarkets, it's got big supermarkets. Portugal, yes, does have supermarkets, but it doesn't have as many different supermarkets as Spain has, or at least that has been my experience in Portugal. In Portugal, you seem to see the same supermarkets wherever you go, the same names, but here in Spain, that's not the case. Go to different regions, you'll see different supermarket brands. When it comes to product range, I'm going to say that Spain has the edge here. There seem to be more products in the big supermarkets here than you'll find in Portugal, but again, that could be just my perception. And also when it comes to prices, which is very important, I think Spain wins this one too, because for whatever reason, even though salaries in Portugal are lower, supermarket prices seem to be on par with Spain, believe it or not. And here in some parts of Spain, you can actually find supermarkets that have cheaper products than in Portugal. And again, doesn't really make sense considering that salaries in Portugal are lower than they are here in Spain, especially minimum salaries quite a lot lower than in Spain. So high supermarket prices in Portugal, Portuguese people must accept it, but I think it's wrong. And supermarket chains like Mercadona here in Spain are also incredibly efficient. They might not have the biggest range of products, but they're very, very efficient supermarkets. Luckily for the people in Portugal, you now have Mercadona, so you can do your shopping there if you want and get that Mercadona experience. And basically what I'm trying to say here is that supermarkets in Portugal are not bad, but here in Spain, my shopping experience at supermarkets is generally more positive, if that makes sense. Now, let's talk about nightlife and late culture. Now, I know this is not going to be for everyone. Lots of people like to go to bed early, but if you are a night owl, Spain wins this one too, or Spain has the edge over Portugal, in my opinion. Because when a lot of people think of Spain, they think about late dinners, they think about busy streets late at night, and also bars that are open until the wee hours of the morning. Portugal does have a decent nightlife, especially in the big cities, but here in Spain, nightlife is king. In fact, this is a country that prides itself on late nights and nightlife. So if you like energy and nightlife, Spain wins this one easily. Portugal, let's say, in comparison, is a bit more low-key. Now, when it comes to the tourism industry, I'm going to have to give this one to Spain as well, because let's be honest about this, Spain is one of the most visited countries in the world, and it shows. Think hotels, think transport, think attractions, think organization. Everything here seems built to handle tourism smoothly. Portugal, of course, does have decent tourism infrastructure, especially in the big cities and also going down to the south of the country, but in other parts of Portugal, you'll find that tourism infrastructure is lacking, especially when it comes to accommodation options, attractions, and things like that. Let's just say that Spain has a very high value-added tourism. Everywhere you go here in Spain, you'll find tourist infrastructure. It doesn't matter if you're in the south of the country, the east, the west, the north, the northeast, the northwest, you'll find tourism infrastructure here. You'll find hotels, you'll find attractions, you'll find places that are catering to the tourist, and that's important. So yes, when it comes to this topic, Portugal is improving, but Spain is the clear winner here, in my opinion. Now, this one's a little bit harder to explain, but anyone who has spent time in both Spain and Portugal will know what I'm talking about, and it's energy. Spain has buzz, movement, noise, although that can be a problem for some people, and life on the streets. It's vibrant. Portugal feels calmer, and I know what some people are going to say, Stuart, some people are looking for a calmer life, and to be honest, I go to Portugal looking for that calmer lifestyle, especially when I get stressed out here with all of the amount of people, all of the amount of activity that's happening, everything that's going on. I like to go to Portugal to get away from it all. So Portugal's positive in my experience for that. But Spain has something, in my opinion, that Portugal doesn't have, and it is that sensation that something is always happening here, if you know what I mean. So maybe that feeling of energy here is something that you would like about Spain. Maybe it's something that you wouldn't like about Spain and you would prefer Portugal. Again, let me know your opinion in that comment section below. So time to wrap this video up and ask the question, Spain or Portugal? And honestly speaking, it depends what you are into. If you want that calmer lifestyle, the more simplistic lifestyle, then Portugal could be the place for you. But if you want the opposite of that, then I reckon Spain is going to be the place. And when it comes to my personal opinion on this, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, no country is better than the other. Spain has its pros, Spain has its cons, plenty of cons of course, and Portugal is exactly the same. It has its pros and it has its cons. You just have to know what you are looking for, and my advice would be to visit both countries, check them out and see for yourself. But hey, I have been living in Spain for the last 28 years, so there must be a reason for that, but I do love the time that I spend in Portugal. On that note, I'm going to wrap the video up. Questions and comments, please leave them in the section below. I'm sure you have an opinion on some of the things that I have spoken about today. Let me know in that comment section below. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. I'll see you in the next one. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so that you never miss a video when I publish it. Until the next one, hasta luego from sunny Spain.